Hey, it's Chris Nichols here from PetaPixel.
And it's Jordan here from PetaPixel.
Why are we hanging out in this industrial area with these moving carts beside us? Well, that's because we're at the Sony Creative Space. We're taking a look at this brand new camera. It is the A9 III that has just been announced. I know it's noisy, but we found a little corner where we can shoot.
The ugliest corner in this entire place to talk. There is water noise. I mean, this is not ideal, but this is such an exciting camera. We just really quickly wanted to get a video out, talking about
reactions.
This. Why is this thing exciting?
Okay, so the first big thing that we're going to notice here on the A9 III, of course, has been announced. It now has a global shutter, which means, unlike a rolling shutter where it's rolling out sequentially and taking all the information, this is capturing the image at once, passing it through, and that does give us a lot of benefits.
Yeah, I mean, the big one is just speed.
Yes.
You know, this is capturing full res photos at 120 frames per second.
14-bit.
Yeah, full RAWs. But the other big thing that we've been looking at for a long time is flash sync has been a real problem with these cameras, like stacked sensors, things like that.
Yep.
This can sync at absolutely any shutter speed, which is really going to open up like real creative possibilities for photographers besides just more speed, better autofocus, the usual stuff.
It also gives other benefits like no banding under artificial lighting, which is always nice.
Like terrible lighting by the back.
You know, another thing on that same exact token is the actual shutter speed itself. So because this is basically a fully electronic shutter, no mechanical shutter required, of course, this can shoot up to 80,000th of a second as its max shutter speed, and it can do that with flashes. So that means you could basically turn day into night with a flash system, and it's going to work with third-party flashes as well. That's what we've heard.
Yeah, exactly. The other really cool thing is when the A9 original came out, it had this super fast sensor. I got really excited for video. But then they really scaled it back. It had no picture profiles, no log recording. It wasn't a good video camera. Here, they haven't really held this back in any meaningful way that we can see right now. So you're getting those same advantages. No rolling shutter in video. You're not going to get the weird jello effect with it. But we're able to shoot 120 frames per second with no crop.
4K, no crop.
Though that is subsampled. That's really important.
4K 60, though, it'll shoot that. Oversampled from 6K, so
highest quality nice up to 60. We're getting S-Log, we're getting S-Cinetone, we're getting all of Sony's most recent video features, and it's back, finally, my favorite LCD in the world returns. Do the thing, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great LCD panel. This is borrowed from the A7R5. We love this design. The body itself is a little bit different than A7R5. It's got a new grip. It's actually 20 grams lighter. It's got a beautiful 9.44 million dot EVF, but what I'm really excited about there is it doesn't drop in resolution up to 120 hertz refresh rate. So that's incredible for sport shooters and wildlife. You get that full 9.44 million dots.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the big thing here, there's a lot of specs. We are going to have a full first impressions video coming up. But what does this mean for photographers and videographers? Why is this so important?
I think that just opens up any sort of limitations that we ever had as far as mechanical shutters go, as far as electronic shutters go with rolling shutter. It does away with that. It lets you shoot flash in any situation. It's great for video without having any rolling shutter, but also on top of that, it's going to be excellent for sports, wildlife, and action, where you just have incredibly fast burst rates with autofocus the whole time. Let's point that out. 120 frames per second with autofocus. I don't see myself ever shooting that fast, but certainly having that potential, that's very powerful.
I think the big unknown, when they announced this, they said, and there's no downside to dynamic range and high ISO shooting. Now, historically, like the f55 cinema camera, huge penalties in both of those going to a global shutter. But what's interesting is they didn't say the stops of dynamic range, which Sony always says, or show high ISO examples in this. So we will be doing some testing. We're not going to be able to process the raw files, but you'll be able to see more in that first impressions video.
Okay, now I know the location change is jarring, but there's another thing we just wanted to break that we just found out. We only have our hot hands on this camera for so long. So looking into it, the base ISO on the sensor actually starts at a curious 250 ISO, goes up to 25,600. We've also confirmed that it is not a dual gain sensor. That's very interesting. This information brings up way more questions than it does answers. We really want to know what's the dynamic range going to be like with this new global shutter, but very curious numbers. I should also mention the brand new 300mm f2.8 G Master was just announced. We have a video because we got an early look at that lens. You should definitely check that out as well. And that'll give you all the information you're looking for on that particular product.
Yeah, but most importantly, we will see you soon with a much better production value episode. I'm sorry about this, everyone, but hopefully it gave you a quick first look at the A9 III.